Tier 3. Flash is right.
There's something super.
I didn't say it. Yes, my
Tryna get out of my city, tryna do it different so my people can't forget me. I wanna be successful, I wanna make an impact. Know that I am different, I know that you feel that. Look me in the eyes and tell me what you see.
Kano wins. Flawless victory fatality.
Hello, I'm Biz,
And I'm Cass,
and we're here to tell you about So High, the 420 show.
where we educate and advocate for the cannabis culture right here on Venue Media.
We are available on all major digital show outlets, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and SoundCloud.
And you can catch us on Instagram at The So High Show.
Finally, I didn't fuck it up.
Sorry.
3.
Trade show displays, step and repeat backdrops, pull-up banner stands, table throws, all your large printing needs. Call Display J at 301-378-9363. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
DisplayJ.com.
Tier 3. Flash is right.
There's something super.
I didn't say it. Yes, my
Tryna get out of my city, tryna do it different so my people can't forget me. I wanna be successful, I wanna make an impact. Know that I am different, I know that you feel that. Look me in the eyes and tell me what you see.
Kano wins. Flawless victory fatality.
Hello, I'm Biz,
And I'm Cass,
and we're here to tell you about So High, the 420 show.
where we educate and advocate for the cannabis culture right here on Venue Media.
We are available on all major digital show outlets, Spotify, Apple, YouTube, and SoundCloud.
And you can catch us on Instagram at The So High Show.
Finally, I didn't fuck it up.
Sorry.
3.
DisplayJ.com.
Trade show displays, step and repeat backdrops, pull-up banner stands, table throws, all your large printing needs. Call Display J at 301-378-9363. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
DisplayJ.com. Do you like pastors that turn into raptors? Kung fu cops who fight Hitler? Piranha? Condas? Me too. Hi, I'm Kyle T. Reyes of Kyle Reyes Comics, and my love of all things absurd and weird has driven me to create my own comic book, Primal Instinct. The epic dinosaurs in space saga that dares to ask the question, do dinosaurs belong in space? You're goddamn right they do. Well, for my next venture, I've decided to launch the Ridiculous Podcast, a weekly show showcasing the weird, insane, crazy, absurd, ridiculous that pop culture has to offer. Join me as we discuss the weird that makes the weird look vanilla. Let's get ridiculous. I know.
Looking like the jacked up TV from your mom's basement. That's right, the time and the place is now. The Hub Show is returning. Once again, we are back, my friends. I will be one of your new hosts. I am Corey Bush, professional wrestler, comedian, actor, and self-professed local celebrity. I'm here with Chris Canfield. Chris Canfield phoning it in. But we're going to be back with the new news, hot topics, and fun things that are going to make this show pop, snap, crackle, and bang all the way into the evenings. Check us out on Wednesday nights, the new Hub Show coming back soon.
This is the podcast pit, brought to you by Ben Media.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is that special time of the week. It is time to talk some wrestling. This is the podcast bit. I am your host, former professional wrestler, promoter of Voltage Wrestling, jack of all trades, master of what I do not know, Mike Ratick. I'm alongside my broadcast partner, Rennes, the Menace, and the Texter, Carbaugh.
I'm doing our social media crap.
You're okay.
Yeah, so you shut your mouth.
All right there.
I'm not having your bullshit today, Mike. Lord.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start it off here.
Someone showed up sober this week, thank God.
I know. Hey, I was sober last week. I was just not sober the day before.
Oh, okay. Got it.
All right? That's what hangover means. It doesn't mean I'm drunk. It means I was drunk yesterday.
I remember my first beer, Mike.
You do? What was that, 2 years ago? No?
Oh,
damn. I know I'm showing my age there. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to start it off this week. Big news here, at least as far as local wrestling news goes. Eli Drake, Hagerstown-born Eli Drake. Some of you might know him as Sean Ricker, was signed to the WWE.
Went to South Hagerstown High School.
Actually,
was it North?
It was North Hagerstown High School. Yes, went to North Hagerstown High School.
Baseball too.
Yes, but he was signed to WWE this week, taking on the name L.A. Knight. Appeared on the NXT
Takeover.
Vengeance Day.
Vengeance alongside. Fun, little 6 degrees of separation.
Oh, no, Brandon Walker.
Brandon Walker, who is the manager of Big Trouble Ben Bishop, one of our friends of the channel.
One of the friends of the podcast. That is correct. Brandon Walker on the show, along with Eli Drake, Hagerstown boy. Gotta love that. Gotta love that. We had him in Hagerstown, 2 years ago for an event?
I think so, yeah.
2 years ago for a fight event. That was the very last fight event.
Super. Now, if I'm correct, I want to say, now, Dad, I know you're in the chat. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure I went to church with his uncle.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I'm 95%
I know,
or a family member of his.
I know referee David Rapp, one of our referees around here in the area, is related to him as well. Yeah, but big, like straight up big signing for the WWE this week.
The dude is charismatic. He's got that look.
Yeah,
he does. The guy has the look.
Mike skills for days, and great wrestler to boot. This guy's going to be money for the WWE. I'm glad he's finally getting his opportunity, and glad to see him.
But take off. A little bit of snafu with his trademark. Is that correct?
That is correct. So apparently, the geniuses at the WWE, and I use that term loosely, they filed a trademark this week for the name LA Knight. And we had a little wah-wah moment when they misspelled the name on the trademark.
Would they misspell Knight?
Well, we're about to find out.
So while you do that, this kind of comes off the heels of apparently that WWE is on another one of their big signing sprees, so to speak. They apparently signed about 24 wrestlers. Yeah, our friend Jimmy Fiddler is his uncle, is Eli Drake's uncle. Went to church with him for many years. Jimmy's a great guy. And he was always telling us, he's on Impact, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But they apparently signed 24 people. Two of them, the big ones being Eli Drake, and the other one, Taya Valkyrie, former TNA Impact Knockouts champion.
Big sign for the women's division.
Incredible talent. She is awesome. This is not surprising, however, because her husband is none other than John Morrison. So it was kind of only a matter of time. She had her last Impact show a couple of weeks ago, where she was written off TV and then showed up in this. It was leading up to Vengeance, Takeover Vengeance. The news came out, and but she is both of those people, Eli and Ty, are both going to be on the NXT roster eventually. Now, what they'll do, there'll be a big announcement here, I assume, in the next couple of weeks, where they announce the newest class. They always do the next class, and this is like the biggest, if not one of the biggest classes they've ever had in NXT, like as a group signing.
Really?
Yeah. It's like 24 people. It's big. Usually, when you see a new class lately, within the last couple of years, it's been 6 people, 4 people, 7, 8, 9.
Well, have you heard, this kind of makes sense? Have you heard about NXT's new show?
I have not.
So NXT.
Well, maybe
NXT is. There's apparently a show that's going to be coming out later on in the spring called NXT Evolve.
Yes.
There's championship belts already purchased. Well, and they've apparently done television tapings in like a warehouse kind of setting. Apparently, it's supposed to give off the vibe of Lucha Underground and promotions like that. I love the idea.
Right,
but man, they weren't kidding when they were
buying up. I mean, it makes sense. They purchased Evolve Wrestling. They're in charge of Evolve Wrestling now. So, hey, more power to them. And here's the thing, though. It's going to be another wrestling show on another night, and we're going to start to get, WWE is, if that's the case, I assume or see that being like a network only thing, like NXT was at the beginning. Yeah. Remember, at the beginning of the network, NXT was a network exclusive.
Exactly.
I think that's what they'll be to try and get more people onto the NBC.
Well, yeah, they're going to need to get they're going to need to get eyes and ears onto that. Speaking of the NBC,
yeah, big news coming here.
So I'm going to go into this. The NBC thing this week. I don't know who's heard about this story or not. So NBCU goes and acquires the rights to the WWE Network. WWE Network, again, in the United States, it's going to be on it's going to be on the Peacock Network here in, I want to say March it was. Mm-hmm. So this brought up an interesting scenario because there's a lot of television experts and stuff that are talking about what NBC is trying to do with Peacock. So one of the things that came up this week was, hey, we need to acquire as many of these smaller networks as possible and these smaller streaming platforms as possible to integrate with Peacock. And if that doesn't grow our audience, really the only realistic thing to grow our audience is a merger with Warner Media.
Which?
This brings up an interesting scenario because Warner Media, as you know, is the television provider for AEW.
Now, we were talking about this before the show, and this could, in 2 years, this could push AEW out. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen this time around. The way corporate America works now, there's going to be a workaround.
Well, there may be a workaround. I will say that, but I'm just going if history repeats itself because we saw this with AOL and Time Warner. There's a lot of people out there that thinks WCW went out of business because they were a bad wrestling promotion and they were haphazardly running.
That was part of it.
And in some cases that's correct, but still at the end of WCW's run, they were still pulling like a 2.
Right.
They were still pulling a 2, 2.5 on cable. So right now that'd be very respectable for a wrestling show.
Right.
However, one of the big reasons that WCW is no longer around is the fact that AOL and Time Warner merged.
Mm-hmm.
AOL had a client, an enterprise client in WWE.
Right.
Time Warner's got this WCW property.
Yep.
All of a sudden, it magically was decided that they didn't want to do wrestling anymore.
Right. But this is all contingent on the fact that this actually happens.
Well, yeah.
It may not happen.
It may not, but
right. It's something to think about.
Yeah, it's something to think about. I mean, who knows? They could pull a hard left and merge with Disney. I mean,
right.
Crazier things that have happened. But
right.
This is going to be a story we're going to want to keep an eye on because it could have huge ramifications on the wrestling industry as a whole, as far as the national level of wrestling goes. And let's hope something positive comes out of it.
Right.
I'll just say that.
Speaking of AEW and NXT, we'll go ahead and get to this before we get to some WWE news because there's a lot of WWE news, I think.
There is.
So AEW versus NXT. AEW once again won the ratings war. NXT did have a good boost this week. I think that was due primarily from the women's Dusty, the finals of the women's Dusty Rhodes Classic, which was won by Raquel and Dakota Kai, and they called out Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler. They showed up. This week. I think it was this week. A lot has happened.
A lot has happened this week.
Yeah, and I like where this is going. I like we said last week that the women's tag belts should be on all programs, all 3 programs. It should be allowed to hop around, and they toyed with that idea at the beginning. When Sasha and Bayley won it, they toyed with going to NXT. I don't think they ever did, but they had that. They might have gone once, but I think that those belts should be on as many TV programs as possible. And I like that the WWE right now is really kind of throwing a lot of energy and time behind these women's tag teams.
I agree. I agree.
It's about time. When you don't have a lot of other good product coming out, I mean, might as well make this because we say it every week. WWE is the Harvard of women's wrestling.
It's the truth.
You've got the best women, some of the best women in the world working there. Why not showcase more of them and put them in tag teams? Not all of them have to have singles runs.
This is true.
Put them together in tag teams. Test the waters with them. Get eyes on these women. And then, break them apart. Do whatever. But I think it's it's good.
Speaking of NXT, have you heard the news about Kyle O'Reilly being stretchered out of the Capitol Wrestling Center?
Yes. They did a angle where so for those of you who didn't watch, NXT Vengeance was this past weekend, and man was it good. It was quite possibly one of the better, if not the best, takeover events. Where Adam Cole, baby, he finally turned heel. He freaking super kicked Finn Balor, and then when Kyle O'Reilly tried to, hey man, that's not cool, blah 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 blah, super kicked him too. The Undisputed Era has ended. Which, I mean, we were all wondering when it was going to happen. They've been together for a long time.
So, about that, like you have an attack from Adam Cole here this week on NXT.
Yes.
And early reports were that O'Reilly had suffered a seizure, and It's especially like they apparently they were getting this from the demeanor of how he was acting
Uh-huh.
after the attack. So Ryan Satin from Fox Sports has reported there has been no intent to make it look like Ryan O'Reilly has suffered a seizure, but the news came out from what the live audience at the arena saw. So there is a live audience at the Capitol Wrestling Center.
Yeah. It's a very small live audience.
But apparently O'Reilly's okay. This is part of the angle.
Yep.
It's
It was
planned.
It was a work.
It was a work, baby.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to. So this is what NXT needed.
Yeah,
they needed this Undisputed Era stuff to happen. We're supposed to get Karrion Kross versus Pablo. I think I don't want to say not Pablo Escobar, but something Escobar.
Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar's coming to wrestle.
Yeah,
huh?
dude. I don't remember his name. It's something Escobar and Yeah.
Bringing us fun candy. Huh?
Yeah, dude.
I'm sorry, guys. Had to go there. Pablo Escobar.
Pablo. Yeah, no, but I was supposed to be for the cruiserweight. I think the cruiserweight title, which I have a very hard time believing that Karrion Kross is a cruiserweight.
Well, yeah. I mean,
no way is that dude a cruiserweight.
Well, I mean, if you're looking at I don't know how you're looking at it. If you're looking at it from 205 pounds and under, which that's not a legitimate cruiserweight, folks.
Right.
It's not.
That's a wrestling cruiserweight.
That's a wrestling cruiserweight. Cruiserweight, like an actual cruiserweight, is 232 pounds and under. But like the wrestlers are a lot smaller these days. They're not like they were back in the day. So.
All right, Vince.
No, I mean it's like legitimately. I mean, I'm not trying to poke fun at it. I mean, legitimately, the wrestlers are smaller. That's what happens.
Right.
That's what happens when you take away the unleaded fuel.
Yeah. Well.
You can't look tremendous anymore.
Nope.
I'm throwing all the little one-liners in there, but yeah. So yeah, it's very likely that this man could be a cruiserweight.
Maybe like legitimately a cruiser, but not a wrestling cruiserweight. I think he's gonna just mollywop the dude. I think it's gonna be an ass kicking. Yeah. I really do. Karrion Kross is an incredible talent. Scary guy. I think is going to be an absolute ass kicking. But moving over to AEW, another great AEW show, and we had a couple big setups this week, couple big things happening. First, we have the Matt Hardy versus Adam Page match coming at Revolution. Revolution's starting to look like a great card. I'm really excited for Revolution. So last week, Matt Hardy had Adam Page sign a contract. And this week when they won, he revealed, the contract, it's now, I now get 30% of all of Adam Page's winning because he's doing his big money Matt gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
Well, there was a switcheroo last week where Adam Page switched the contracts and Matt Hardy signed up for a match at Revolution. And the stipulation is the winner gets all of the loser's earnings for the first quarter of 2021. So that's the stipulation there. I think those
Pull
two
the
are
old
going to
switcheroo on them. I loved the angle. I got to see it a little bit the week before, and I did catch a good portion of Dynamite this week, and I did get to watch this angle. It was funny. It was entertaining. The Dark Order get involved when Matt Hardy and Private Party come in and put the atomic hands.
Private
to him.
what?
Private Party.
Sound like you said Private Party.
I know.
That's what I thought you just said.
Well, dude, the Good Brothers were on there calling him Private Shardy the week before. I popped for that, but
another couple big things. Sting took a power bomb this week. Yeah, it's Sting. Yeah, he took a power bomb this week, and I thought I saw him take the power bomb. I was like,
yeah, I was hoping
no.
Yeah.
But he was fine. I mean, we were talking about it with Kyle before the show, and if there's one guy on that roster who you're gonna trust to give a power bomb to
Brian
Sting,
Cage,
it's Brian Cage. The man is massive.
Yeah, man's massive
and talented,
and he protected him. Protected him very well. So you heard this one? This just came. I'm reading this right now.
Oh God.
This is like one of the wildest wrestling conspiracy theories.
I love a good conspiracy theory. Hit me.
Don't even this is a conspiracy theory of wrestling, and it involves politics. I don't like to bring politics.
Is this the cute? Oh boy,
this shit's crazy. So apparently there is a conspiracy theory that Stan Lane of the Midnight Express is the illegitimate father of. Hold on, we're getting there. Stan Lane is the illegitimate father of. Oh, where's the name here?
All right, you keep reading that. There's one more thing that happened on Dynamite. You know, Mike's over here trying to derail the show with his QAnon conspiracy theories.
Lauren Boebert, the
Congresswoman. Oh,
yeah,
gosh.
he really.
Anyway, AEW Dynamite big match set for Revolution is going to be Kenny Omega versus Jon Moxley in an exploding barbed wire match.
I've been waiting for it. I'm sure Jim Cornette's head's melting.
Oh,
right now.
Jim Cornette has
Oh my God! Exploding barbed wire match. Jesus Christ!
In the words,
now.
Yeah, dude, he probably called it to use one of his own isms. He probably thinks it's dumber than Al shit slapped with a board.
Oh,
he says it all the time. That's dumber than Al shit slapped with a board. Brian, I mean,
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know, but it's funny.
Yeah.
If you don't listen to Cornette, listen to his. The man is a wordsmith.
The man's a wordsmith.
He is, man.
He is, yeah. I'll give him that. I don't agree with anything that he says.
He is one of the best talkers the business has ever seen. Finally, real wrestling. I'm
sorry.
I'm very excited for this match.
I'm very excited for it too. You know, one of my pastimes as a teenager watching wrestling. Remember those FMW videos they would sell out at FYE or Suncoast?
I'm pretty sure I have a couple of them in the basement in the big box of Blu-rays and DVDs.
Yes, those videos were how I discovered like guys like Hayabusa and Mike Awesome and Masato Tanaka,
right?
And like a lot of these guys that you would eventually see in the ECW back in the day, but. You know, Cactus Jack was on those videos.
Yeah,
like
Terry Funk.
Terry Funk. They had a guy named Jason the Terrible that basically just wore a hockey mask and just beat the crap out of people with every weapon he could find. So,
they're say what you will about it, but man, it's going to be a blast.
Yes, I'm looking.
It's probably not going to be for the faint of heart at times. I guarantee by the end of it, they'll both be wearing the crimson mask. I can't. Oh man, I'm excited. Exploding. You had me exploding.
You had you exploding. Huh?
Yeah. Oh man. I can't wait, man. It just stuff like that, and I think the nice thing about this one is the production values will be there. It's not going to be some, it's not going to be some. I don't want to name any names. So backyard, mud show wrestling. Where I think Kyle said Outlaw Mud Show, yeah,
the Outlaw Mud Show.
The Outlaw Mud Show, where it's like an exploding ring, as a couple of firecrackers and some sparklers. You know what I mean?
Why not?
Stuff like that in the. It's gonna be because
we all love those Ultimate Deletion matches. Oh, here we go. Mike Fox in the chat. Don't have any FMW. Got a couple of good XPW ones though.
Yeah,
all right.
Hooked up to a car with a Roman candle. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I've been waiting for this type of match to happen between these two again because they were the first Moxley Kenny Omega match was that lights out unsanctioned match. Do you remember that that they got in a bunch of trouble for?
Oh yeah, the Maryland staff.
Yeah.
Our boy
Pat Pinella. Shout out. But I was there for that.
You're not supposed to really say his name. You're supposed to it's a conjunction.
Oh no, I'm doing a new thing where I say the name and then cough. It's a thing. It'll catch on.
Cough. Yeah.
And I was there with my friend Sean, and he's not a big hardcore wrestling guy, And watching him watch it he was not mortified, but he was, oh my, are they really holy? Just
oh yeah.
He was like, oh. Dad won't remember this guy, Chris. Oh, I can't remember his last name, but he used to go to the wrestling events with us randomly,
Yeah.
But was a lawyer, and he was a defense attorney, and he would come with us every once in a while. And I remember he could not stand the sight of blood. And he happened to come with us on the night of the barbed wire Christmas tree match.
Oh.
And watching him watch the match was the funniest thing. I mean, cringing. Just
taking somebody that hasn't watched hardcore wrestling
yeah.
to a hardcore wrestling match is like one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah.
Tim Parks in the chat saying XPW was the shit. I remember him.
They're doing
doing Dark Side of the Ring
and
on them.
FMW.
Yeah,
they're doing Dark Side of the Rings on both of them. They're going into the hardcore stuff this season because they're also talking about Nick Gage. You know, I'm excited.
XPW was like the most outlaw promotion. Just some of the stories that would come out of that, like their owner spent time in jail. The owner and the wife, because he had that the girl. Who was the girl with Rob Black? I'm trying to think. Lizzie Borden. Yeah, like they both spent time in prison there for a while, I believe.
Jeez.
Over stuff with XPW. I mean, some guy got his thumb cut off because of that promotion.
Yep.
Like legitimately.
Yeah, legitimately.
That's not a wrestling angle, folks.
No.
Like somebody legitimately broke into a guy's house and cut somebody's thumb off over that promotion.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure that'll be talked about.
Oh, I'm sure it will. I mean, that's the story. If you're going to bring up an XPW Dark Side of the Ring, that is the story you have to talk about.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah. So speaking of, foreign, I'm gonna segue into some foreign wrestling real quick.
All right.
Just because we've been on this whole kick on how we're seeing more of a global territories thing happen. Well, Kaiji Muta won the Pro Wrestling Noah title. Now, PW Noah is a Japanese promotion. It's kind of, so you've got, I would say, All Japan at the top, and then right below them you have All Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes.
And Pro Wrestling Noah.
Yep.
I think those are the other two big ones. And so he won the Pro Wrestling Noah title, and he said in his post-match interview, he wants to defend it on Impact Wrestling.
Oh. Well, that gets interesting.
Yeah.
That gets real interesting. That gets really interesting.
That's great. That, I mean, once again, we're seeing this global territories thing take shape.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's gonna be what's best for business.
Absolutely. Nothing but good can come of this when everybody's working together and they're working together, they're in sync with one another. I'm starting to see it on the indies, like especially like in the Jersey area. There's a couple of indies up in the Jersey area that are working together, putting together storylines now. I want to say the promotion's SWF, if I'm not mistaken, but they're working with like Pro Wrestling After Dark up there and a couple of other promotions to build consistent stories, and you have those stories play out instead of once a month, you're having them play out 2-3 times a month, so you can get a little bit more longevity out of those stories.
Right, and it makes sense. You can try and do this whole wrestling thing by yourself, and you can have, I think, a decent amount of success. But when wrestling companies begin to work together, doing talent swaps, doing long-term storytelling between these companies, I think that's where it really elevates the product. You're seeing I don't want to say a more mature product, but maybe a smarter product is maybe what I want to go. And then, you're building an audience here, but hopefully those people are going to come here because one of your stars is supposed to be showing up. There it is.
Oh, there we go.
There it is.
All right. So, yeah, now speaking of promotions working together, there was a little bit of news that came out this week with a little snafu in working together.
Yeah.
This was... I'm not
gonna read it, but man, is it funny.
Brian Carbaugh with the smoke.
Yep.
With the smoke. But apparently, this week, Sammy Guevara got himself in some hot water.
Yep.
That was a story that came out. He allegedly rejected an Impact Wrestling storyline to protect his AEW creative direction.
Yeah, so there was a couple other things that happened with this. The stories coming out say that he didn't show up to taping on time. He was supposed to be in, I guess Knoxville is where they film Impact. Knoxville or Nashville, I can't remember. And he was supposed to show up to a taping and was gonna be late. And he on his way he started texting whoever was in charge of writing and was like, I don't really feel like doing this. Let's do this. Well, it has come out that what he wanted to do was win the Impact X Division Championship. That's what he wanted. Yeah.
So he just walked in and was like, "Hey, I want that belt."
Pretty much. He was like, I don't like what you're doing. I don't like your story. I think I should. Here's my idea. Let's, I want to win the X Division championship, and I can see where that would rub them the wrong way.
Yeah, I can see that.
Especially when I'd wager to say that Kenny Omega's coming for that Impact title.
This reminds me of a rib that me and James Ellsworth had. I'd always call him to, if I'd call him to book him, he'd be like, I need 500 in the belt.
Yeah.
It was always like a rib. Like, we even talk about, like I know he was even thinking about making a T-shirt that said that 500 in the belt.
That's awesome. But yeah, and apparently that rubbed the people at Impact, especially Don Callis, the wrong way.
Well, yeah.
And he is apparently, I don't know if this is, I texted you and Kyle this week and said, if this isn't a work, it's sad. If it is a work, it's being really well done. And the thing that makes me think maybe it's a work is it involves Chris Jericho, who is the leader of the Inner Circle. Guevara left the Inner Circle. My thought is if there was any sort of issues, it would have been Tony Khan, who is involved, and Cody Rhodes, not necessarily Chris Jericho. Because I don't know what Chris Jericho's official corporate title is, but I know like Cody and Kenny and the Young Bucks all have corporate positions.
No, I know Chris is heavily involved in the creative direction of it.
Okay.
And I, like from what I'm reading here, the idea that they had put together was put together by Chris Jericho and Don Callis.
Yeah.
And the idea pitched to him, the idea he pitched in return was to him winning the X Division title, only for him to go back to AEW, refuse to defend the title, allowing them to put together a tournament to crown a new champion.
Right.
Not what you want to do when you're just walking in the door for the first time, especially. I don't know. I just kind of kept my head down and after the heat.
Guevara, as he's not that star yet.
Well, he's not that star yet, and not to mention when you've already had the heat on him, it's subsided, but it's still there.
Yeah,
you don't want to put yourself in a position where
he's undeniably in a position he would rather not be.
Yes. Well, you don't want to put yourself in a position where you're viewed as a problem.
Right, and but luckily, it is coming out that that there are no hard feelings between the two companies. This was just kind of a one, hey, get your boy under control. Hey, yep, we will. Tony Khan is apparently super pissed at Guevara. I mean, rightfully so. I mean, Guevara is gonna. I foresee Guevara losing a couple matches in the future.
Yeah,
he'll get a little bit of a burial, which makes sense because this is what makes me think it's all a big work. He's okay. Now he's just going to start getting put in like crap matches where he's going to get his butt kicked and then it's going to be, you left the Inner Circle. This is what you deserve.
There could be
if
that,
it's not a work, make it a work. Use it, and I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will. Yeah, but. Yep, bad news for Sammy Guevara this week.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Yeah, he is apparently banned from Impact Wrestling for the foreseeable future.
Banned, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Yep.
Banned.
So, okay. Now we're going to switch over to some WWE news. There's a couple big stories. First I want to start with, we've been talking about I'll call it the third-party fiasco. Where they can't have their Twitch, they can't do this, that, and the other thing. Well, now it is coming on down from higher ups that the stars are no longer allowed to make money off their Twitch and Instagram from sponsored ads. Yes. So this affects a lot of people, but no one as much as Mandy Rose and Lana. So I found the numbers. Mandy Rose, off of her sponsored posts, makes off of them over a course of a year $490,104, roughly $6,902 a post. Okay. Lana's, however, in the last year, she made $625,922, or $10,608 per post. And here's the kicker. That is more than her WWE contract.
Wow.
What do you think about that, Mike?
Okay, that number one, that's a lot of money. That is a lot of money.
Yep.
To just leave on the table. Number two, like, why isn't anyone just standing up to this? Like, if you get, like, I see, like, Zelina Vega was one thing where she was like, hey, I'm not doing it. Nobody was backing her, and then they just cut her. I don't understand why people, when they hear this in a meeting or they get this in a memo, you just don't have a group of people write back and be like, hey, forget that. This is what we're doing. You have no choice in the matter. We're just not going to comply.
Right.
Because a group of people doing this would be a hell of a lot easier to make, like, to make some headway than just one person.
You know what headway is? About 10 or 15 pounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is took you a minute.
Yeah, it took me a minute.
This is just another one of those things that, you know, every week I'm like, okay, WWE did something good this week. And then they do this, and then they do crap like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it'd be one thing if they were making a couple bucks here and there, but the fact that they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars,
well, it's
more than their WWE contract,
and it's also not a good look for a company who literally had their most successful quarter in history. And they're still just like, hey, how can we take that person's money? How can we take that person's money? Because you know they're going to put together a system where, hey, WWE has control of their Instagram and their Twitters.
Right.
That's ultimately what this is, so they can control the social media audience.
Right.
And I can tell you this now. This is coming. They're going to end up basically. They're going to try to make the conversation that, or the argument, so to speak, that they own their talents, Twitter's, Instagram, their social media. That's going to be
dicey,
huge.
Yeah. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Now, speaking of, like, you know, last week we had the information about, you know, there's no bonuses or whatever. Apparently, some employees were given this week $3,000 worth of shares in the company.
Oh, shares.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because those are worth a lot, and, you know, they're only going up.
No, you're walking around no bonus, especially during a global pandemic where they're it's like that argument, oh, hey, I'm barely making money. You know, why am I going to give you, like, when you're seeing the most successful quarter in company history.
Right.
Now, I understand, you know, from a corporate standpoint, hey, you got to cut things here and there. However, when these people are making that extra and supplementary money,
right,
leave it alone. They're not getting house show bonuses. Right. They're probably getting their TV appearance bonuses still.
Maybe.
No, I mean, that's still part of their contract. They would have to get a TV appearance bonus. You're probably not getting paid off the draw anymore.
Right. So, you know, this is just one of those things. Apparently, also, there's some turmoil backstage.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What the hell you say?
I read this week that there are people purposefully being kept in the dark about creative. So, you know, WWE has 60, 70 writers or whatever. They have a writing team that's
vast.
That's bigger than some of their house show rosters.
Yeah.
And apparently they've stopped. If you can't make the meeting, they're not giving you the notes from that meeting.
Okay.
This is thought to be the work of one Bruce Pritchard and trying to kind of make a power play backstage. And Vince, I don't know, is aware of this. If he was, he is now. And there's people pushing Vince to be like, hey, you got to stop it. So this could unfold. This could be ugly for Bruce Pritchard if he's not careful.
Well, Bruce Pritchard is a fucking shit stirrer, and that's all he ever has been and always ever will be.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I've never been a fan of the guy.
I've never been a fan. Like, I listen to his I love, like, the Conrad Thompson podcast, and I do enjoy listening to Pritchard's podcast. However, you can tell by listening to Pritchard's podcast that he is just a shit stirrer.
Yeah.
It's like you could tell, like, he's vague about like the juicy details of the story that you want to hear. He's always vague about.
Yep.
It's like he's sitting on there like just screwing with his audience for not for the sake of money, just for the sake of screwing with them.
Right.
I don't like listening to that show. Eric Bischoff's show right now, much better.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Now he says some dumb stuff too.
Oh, he said, well, yeah, Bischoff's always said some dumb stuff here and there, but at the end of the day, you're going to get things over-explained to you, which in a podcast format I like. Maybe not on a wrestling show, but on a podcast, in the podcast format that he has, I love. That's just me.
Now, speaking of people saying dumb stuff, someone who I'm not a big fan of, tweeted something that I actually agree with.
Oh, what, the Vince Russo?
Oh, Vince Russo.
Oh, Vinny Roo, man. Yeah, that week. This week, Vince Russo. And I'm going to paraphrase the tweet here just a bit. But Vince Russo basically, there's been news with Bad Bunny and Lil Bow Wow jumping into the wrestling
It's just
world.
Bow Wow now.
Yeah, just Bow Wow. Well,
Yeah, he's not Lil no more.
Oh, he grew up.
Yeah, he grew up.
He grew up. That happens. So, two celebrities get in the wrestling business, and Vince Russo, he's been around the game long enough to know that celebrities getting in the business are designed to bring eyes and ears to the business from casual fans. He tweets out, and I quote, "Hey, all the Bad Bunnies and Bow Wows in the world aren't going to distract people from the fact that you're just dragging casual fans to a bad TV program.
Yep.
Once they see it, they're going to look and then walk away." I totally 150% agree.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, I can't. As much as I don't like Vince Russo, I agree.
Yeah. Now they're making money off the Bad Bunny merch.
Oh yeah, he's the top selling. He's selling more than Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Like that's huge.
So they're making money off the Bad Bunny stuff. I personally, I'm not familiar with his work. However, the kids are. I get it. The kids. Well,
sorry, Mike. Yeah.
Yeah, no. The kids are familiar with his work. I get it. However, he's not wrong.
Right. No.
Yeah. You product, and I'm sorry, guys. WWE is a bad wrestling product right now.
Well, especially Monday Night Raw. That's where they're trying to bring them to, and that's it's not good.
Did it ever occur to anybody that maybe Raw
has
run its course? Maybe it's run its course. Maybe you need to look into a new format of a television show.
2 hours. 2 hours would fix Monday Night Raw.
It would improve it.
It would fix it because they wouldn't have because they wouldn't have to do all this filler BS. 2 hours would begin to fix it. 3 hours is too long for a wrestling show. But if they cut to 3 hours, they're going to lose their ratings. I guarantee. Yeah. They're going to lose some ratings. And you know what? I think it'd be worth it because once it's 2 hours is a much more palatable show. I don't need to watch 3 hours of wrestling. If I'm going to watch something for 3 hours, it's going to be The Lord of the Rings.
In my heyday at wrestling, I watched 3 hours every Monday night.
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted, 2 of those hours were WWE, and 1 was that first hour of WCW.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's basically how things worked for me back in the day.
Right.
I feel like the show is too overproduced. You can cut the hour all you want. It's not going to change the fact that it's still a bad wrestling show.
Right.
You're just giving people less of a bad wrestling show. Bring back primetime wrestling? Is that what you... LAJ wants primetime wrestling back.
I mean, it's...
Tim Parks, yes, you might be the only one that loves a 3 hour
one of
Raw.
few.
You're the few, the proud.
the 3 hour wrestling show lovers. Well, and that's I think the other issue I have with it. Your pay-per-views are now 3-4 hours long, which is fine, but most of them just feel like an extended. Some of them feel like, oh, I could have watched this on Monday Night Raw, and it would have been a fine Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of pay-per-view, we do have Elimination Chamber coming up. Only 5 matches have been announced for it. If that's the only 5 that they have, it'll be great. But no, they're gonna screw it up.
Oh, there'll be some dog shit.
So we've got, I didn't write down all the participants, but we have 2 men's chamber matches. One will have Drew McIntyre in it, defending, which he'll win.
Yep.
And then the other one, whoever wins that one, will face Roman Reigns later in the evening for his title, which he will win. So there's not going to be any belt changes there. I'll be very surprised. And then those are 3 matches right there. Then you've got the women's tag, which is currently being advertised, I believe, as Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler versus Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. That's a match. And then the United States Championship triple threat between Keith Lee, not Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, I think Matt Riddle. Yeah, I think Matt Riddle.
Yeah. Or
Riddle, as he's just called now. I've never understood that. I've never understood the changing to one name. I like the 2 name.
I agree. I like the 2 name thing too.
Right.
I think it. Like, I don't know if it. Like, I don't want to say it devalues the wrestler when you
Riddle.
Yeah.
It's a dumb name. Matt Riddle is a good.
That's a Vince thing. Vince thinks
Oh, yeah.
one name is easier to remember, and it's just like no,
No.
it just sounds dumb.
Like, I preferred Antonio Cesaro.
Yeah.
Big E Langston.
Yeah.
The names just.
No, it's like literally doing something that really makes no difference whatsoever, and it's just like, why? Like, was that going to improve or enhance somebody?
Yeah.
Like, why did you spend time in thinking, maybe I should call him down to one name? Like,
Right.
It just makes no sense.
Instead of thinking about that, maybe you should think about your product a little bit more instead of.
Maybe not try to over-explain everything every 5 minutes on your television
Speaking,
program. That'd be great.
And speaking of 2 people who are extremely talented, who still have their full names, apparently Vince sees nothing in Aleister Black and Andrade Cien Almas, which is absolutely insane. Aleister Black, both those guys.
Oh, both of those
are
they're wonderful.
Incredible talents.
But they were Paul Heyman guys, and
Right.
you know what he likes to do. As soon as Paul Heyman promotes somebody, he likes to bury them just to troll Heyman, because that's what that's the society we're in. We'd rather be passive aggressive than, I don't know, write a good television show.
Which sucks. Because Aleister Black, if he could leave the WWE, he'd be incredible over in AEW.
Yeah, like
he and
I'll say it. Cesaro would be incredible in AEW right now.
He just signed another contract.
I know. Cut a hell of a promo on Talking Smack this past week.
Yeah, he did. But I would love to see Zelina Vega and Aleister Black show up on Dynamite.
Well, didn't Zelina Vega show up on Dynamite this week?
I don't think so. There was rumor that she was going to.
Yeah, like I know
because her contract is her 90-day no compete clause was up the day before, and I think she teased it.
Yeah, there's rumors that she's agreed in principle to a deal, and she's coming in to manage Proud and Powerful.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, maybe you'll get to keep that Twitch money you're making.
Yeah.
Like, hey. Like,
well, yeah, she will. I mean,
I don't think Tony Khan's taking anybody's Twitch money.
No, well, it's funny. In the wake of that, Tony Khan and the rest they were like, "Yeah, Twitch it up, do all this stuff. We don't care. Make your money. More eyes on our product, which it should be. That's what should be being done.
Yes.
You're not getting TV viewers anymore because no one watches TV.
That's the problem with WWE. They're worrying too much about, oh, hey, they're making money off of the names that we made them. We should take that money, and not worried about, like, hey, maybe people aren't watching our TV show anymore. Maybe, just maybe, we should let them keep doing what they're doing. So, I don't know. Maybe people come back and watch.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because it's garbage. It's shite. But that's just me. But, ladies and gentlemen,
that does it for the news, man.
I know.
We do need to send a shout out to our sponsor for today's show.
We do. We have 2 sponsors for today's show. DisplayJ.com. We are the Rolls Royce of Pro Wrestling Podcast. This is the Rolls Royce of large signage, displays, backdrops. Oh, you're going to get the Godfather theme? All right.
Wrong button. There it is.
There he goes. Man. I was kind of like, I would have gone with the Godfather theme on that, but hey, TheDisplayJ.com, ladies and gentlemen, and especially for you pro wrestlers out there watching, the business is coming back this year. Get your signage, your backdrops, your gimmick tables. Let these people out there know that are coming to these shows that you have star power.
Yep.
This is one of the ways to do it. DisplayJ.com.
And also, our friends over on Dual Highway at the Liquor Locker.
The Liquor Locker. I love the Liquor Locker. They have all of my local brews. They got all of your cigars.
Yep.
They got a grand selection of bourbon
and
whiskey.
Yeah, oh yeah, and they're locally owned, locally run and owned, guys. I mean, both these businesses.
Oh, and
so please shop local, shop our small businesses, and Liquor Locker is one of I think the most fairly priced places to get alcohol in town.
You know what my favorite part about it is? I've got friends. They're still scared of the Rona right now. They don't want to go inside.
Mm-hmm.
Outside. Get this. They've got an online ordering system, so you can just get in, out, and you're done.
Pickup.
Curbside
pickup.
Curbside pickup. Gotta love it. I'm not I don't do the curbside pickup, but I know people out there who do.
Right, and the gentleman who owns it, he does a lot. He does a lot for the community as well. We've been finding out he does a lot for the community. So please, guys, support both these businesses. Support Display J. Support the Liquor Locker, our two sponsors for today's show.
And you can also support the Podcast Pit because we're on Pro Wrestling Tees right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a Pro Wrestling Tees store to sell official Podcast Pit merchandise as well as Voltage Wrestling merchandise. We're going to be showing up here in the spring, but you can get your T-shirt now. I know Brian Carbaugh got his T-shirt.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he got his T-shirt. I got to see the picture of him. Thumbs up, T-shirt, the whole nine, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Podcast Pit T-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com/Mike Ratick.
And I'm not going to name the name yet.
All right.
But you've got an interview with someone tomorrow.
Yes, we do. We do have an interview. We're going to be it's going to air next week.
Yes.
We're going to have an interview with one local wrestling legend, Shane Shadows, next week on our podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to miss that interview. We're going to talk about CPW. We're going to talk about the history of independent wrestling around here over the last 20 years with Shane Shadows, and talk about his fandom as growing up as a wrestling fan. We're going to talk about it all.
Yeah. I'm bummed I'm going to miss it, but I'll obviously watch it. But
yeah, we're going to have it right here on the show next week.
I know. I just like to be there for those. You know that.
Yes, but it will be an interesting interview. Shane, always outspoken and not afraid to hold back on anything. So this should be an interesting interview and one that you do not want to miss. Ladies and gentlemen, for myself and Rennes Carbaugh, we will see you next week. Same podcast time, same podcast channel.
This is the Podcast Pit, brought to you by Ben Media.